Ooh, oh, it's Halloween. All Hallows Eve. I am driving to pick up my daughter, and I'm going to riff and rap. I'm not really sure on what. What was I thinking about right before I picked up the phone to record this podcast? Oh man, it was some deep thoughts. Well, I hope everybody had a wonderful Halloween, if that's possible. Yeah, it's kind of a weird holiday. Like, you know, there's a whole component where people think it's evil, and, you know, there's a much deeper meaning in the spiritual community that I have not learned yet. And I guess I just am kind of ignorant. When I was a parent, I am still a parent. When I was a parent of younger children that could trick or treat, so my daughter's just trick-or-treated, so that's why I'm going to get her. Even though she can drive, she apparently decided that tonight was the night that I was going to pick her up. So, anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but, yeah, it's been tough stuff lately. Tough stuff. All day long. All the day long with my not battling, but just really trying to stay away from darker energies, darker feelings, though not avoiding, just noting. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of stuff that comes up. There's a lot of, like, grieving of, you know, the times when I was more in the shadow, didn't see enough light, and acted in ways that created consequences that are reverberating and wonderful, and I couldn't understand the wonderful until I really got some distance from the traumas and whatnot, and I think that's just the way it goes, and that's kind of how we evolve. And there's many of us, I think, that have, like, extreme amounts of lived karma, and I think I made this other video where I was talking about being kind of stuck in the systems, and we can evolve, like, our spirit. You know, we're down here doing that dance at the systems and whatnot, especially if, you know, you have a chronic illness, you're a caregiver for somebody that has a chronic illness. You learn what it's like, and you don't have to think about it. You can just go about it and do, you know, all the many things that you're going to end up doing, and think that, you know, somehow make sense of it in your head, because that's the way it is. But I'm here to tell you that that's not just okay for you. For me, it wasn't okay. Maybe it's okay for you, but I think ultimately, if you sit down and think about it, you're going to realize that, and take some steps back, that it's not okay for you either. But right now, that's where we are. A lot of us have to be in the systems. We can't just ditch and dive and jump out of the systems, even though we want to. I wish I'd, like, inherit some money, or not even inherit, just find some, earn some. I'm working on it. Yeah, and it's hard to make a living. It's hard to want to run back into the matrix and educate myself, and that cost, that energetic cost, it's just, like, seems overwhelming, especially when everything seems to be so just not holistic. That's the only way I can put it. There's just, you know, you learn one thing here, and you learn it this way, and I think the lived experience is just so much more valuable. But you do need, you know, the information from the people that have gone before you, and it's really about clearing out your traumas and listening to your intuition, and you don't even have to listen. It's just online. You're present, and that's tough. But I think if you can even experience moments of that where you're present, and you're just in the flow, and intuition isn't something you need to, like, actually access. It's just there. It's just, you are there. You are. I am. So, but for most of us humans, mere mortals down here, that are working on that, yeah, it's like clearing out your traumas, clearing out those things that trigger you, because that's all about you. And I walk around some days and I am freaking triggered by everything. I spent so much of my adult parenting, you know, really in intense parenting situations where I had to be so absorbed with what was going on that I couldn't really think outside of those moments, like, long term. and the energetics of it, of being in those kinds of situations where you're, there's life and death things happening, for kids that have chronic illnesses, on many levels, not life or death on many levels, but there always is that level when you're parenting for a child who may, if you're not careful, they could pass, and that would be something really heavy to carry around, even heavier than the stuff that I feel like I have had to let go of, as in, just really not thinking through a lot of the decisions I made. So, but that's, I see it now, and it's like you wake up to these things, and like, okay, you're awake, you're a parent of 5, and you've got 3 offspring that have a chronic illness, and it's not just going to be like they go off to college and get married and go on with their lives, and you go on with your life, and you become a grandparent, and you have your challenges along the way, but that's the dream, but that's nothing like what it is. And I think looking back, the reason that I'm here is because I think it's my path. I am, and I think it's inspired. It's divine. I know I'm here for a purpose. I know it like I know my own heart. I've known it since I was a young child. I've just felt the truth. Not the details of what I'm here to do, but just that connectedness, that love, that knowing, that, knowing, seeing through the bullshit. And so anyways, we're parenting, and our kids aren't leaving, and there's really no more harder to find, more time to access. They're out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. It's just siloed, and I think that we're pure prey for the new world order, where they really want to digitize and kind of eliminate the body. To me, it seems like Russian dolls, like we're going to just be another system within a system. It doesn't really seem like expansive or natural to me, what is going to be happening with the medical agenda and the social credit, just the surveillance, just everything, the health freedom, the passports, all that, taking away our ability to flow, our connection with how we flow, our connection with love, our connection with ourselves. That's what's being eliminated. So we're just kind of robots. And I think that that's kind of been, the systems have been put in place, and slowly we've kind of adapted to it in a lot of ways, and we've accepted, a lot of it without even realizing it, like the way the phones are so pervasive. And there's a lot of good with it, especially, well, for everybody, but especially for those with disabilities. It's opened up huge windows of opportunity to communicate, and so there's this good layered in with the bad, and so just the better you can get at tapping your own intuition, and being in presence, so you don't, clearing out those shadows, those triggers, just, it's hard. I had to go back, and I'm bawling about something that happened in my, about basically leaving my family of origin. Grief I'd never processed because I wasn't in my heart. I'm really good at, understanding things in my head. Intellectually, I could explain my whole childhood. I could explain the decisions I made, the unconscious decisions, why I made them at the time, the pressures that were there. I could explain it all. But I think I hadn't felt a lot of it. And, right now I'm definitely not in my heart. So this is kind of a choppy one, but it originates from the heart, and my heart is involved. I'm just driving to get my daughter, and I'm trying to record my thoughts. So anyway, so back to the parenting and the embedded systems. And I think if you've ever been at a doctor's appointment and you felt like you wanted to ask a question, or you did ask a question, they tell you to come prepared with questions. A lot of times I felt so overwhelmed that I had no idea what to ask. They explained to me these facts, very clinical, logical, cold hard facts, and I just didn't know how to ask about what I wanted to ask about, which was the energetics. And when I did, the behaviors and what, they give me some answers, and they'd lead me to some other expert or some other doctor, and I just got tired of that. I felt like I knew more than they did. about that piece of it, but I still need that medical piece. My kids I needed to teach them that, because we haven't figured out how to integrate our understanding of TSC through anything other than germ theory with terrain theory, and I think that'll just blow the doors off of it, and we'll be able to really find way better ways of treating it if we can add in more what's considered now holistic or alternative, and look at all the nutrition and the diet, the gut brain, and like sound healing and frequency and energy, all that, and the actual day-to-day interactions with each other, and the triggers that are escalated with people with TSC. That's what I just spent the whole weekend dealing with, is my son, who's triggered on a hair thread. And I think some of it's medication. And I'm telling you, it's so excruciating, because so much of it is just not intentional. It's just not intentional, but it is intentional. Like, we have to live through it anyways. He's saying all these horrible, horrible things, and texting and doing these horrible things that we know are on some level out of his control. Now, what kind of hell is that to put somebody in? My heart breaks. I carry that around. I can't walk away from that. I can't just shut up and forget that I'm seeing this. And I'm trying to explain it to the doctors, and, they keep, they're helping on a certain level. But it's just, I'm going to have to figure it out. We're going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to figure it out. We can tap the resources that are available, but I'm stepping into my, true higher self or whatever, and I am going to speak from my heart and explain that they have no idea what they're fucking talking about. Like, I have to go see a psychiatrist to talk to him. Now, what the hell? I guess I want to know. I'm sure there's a lot that they can tell me. Just calm down, Jill. But I just want to cut to the chase. Like, what do you think what knowledge you have that's going to help me in my day-to-day life without, like, sedating my kid, so he's out of any opportunity to learn about his own flow? These kids aren't able to learn, able to clear their traumas. There's just, they're cut off from themselves, and they're going to be, they're just like locked in cages. But maybe that's better for them. I don't know. I see my daughter, and she's just got, like, she's so smart in so many ways, but her behavior she's always shooting herself in the foot in, like, really, really bad ways. And it's frustrating. And I don't know how much is in her control and how much isn't. But it's sure hard to watch. She's aware on some level that this is happening, and that's like a really hard role for a soul to take. So, I don't know. These are the things that I think about when I can't sleep. But overall, I found ways to just walk through this, to ask the questions that are on my mind, even if it's emailing the doctors. And, I think it's really anybody that's in challenging situations, dealing with someone with a chronic illness or some other really beyond the average kind of situation. I think we all are going to get a taste of this. So those that have been dealing with these situations, please tap your intuition. Please know that you know a lot. Think about what you live through. Think about how you navigate, what you navigate every day, the little nuances of things that you never think about. Start paying attention to those, because those are the things that influence outcomes. And we can find ways to get into our hearts and to be, like, just as loving as possible to each other. But that takes some work, because it's hard. It's energetically draining, and we want to protect ourselves. We want to escape until we understand it. We understand why, where, when, how. We understand more. And through living through it, or through learning from someone that has lived through it, through everybody, through the doctors, through all the support networks, we're all learning together. And that's the whole thing. Why does one have to be above another? I think we all should feel valued. Those that show up with the kids, those that are the patients or the clients, should be really honored for what they're teaching, the rest of the systems about this, living with a condition like this in our world, and how, we're just not learning enough of the lessons that we could be learning that will help us to level up. We're just kind of like defining them and putting them in, like, schools and books so we can analyze them and get an education, but we're not really thinking about the whole big thing. so we can put love into it, and we can start from the bottom, and we can build this beautiful castle together. All the systems, you know, the people. It's not the people. It's not the systems. It's the people in the system. So, you know, just all the people. All the people. You know. And I'm at my daughter's place where she is, so I'm going to have to stop talking. And I'm not really done with this. I'm on a roll, and I love it that I get the chance to hang out and talk. So if I publish this, yay. If I don't, awesome. So happy Halloween. I love you all.